We're in Studio C on Friday morning, and this is the cool thing about my job is I get to say things like, ladies and gentlemen, Tori Amos.
Hi, Andy.
How are you?
I'm really well.
I get to say other cool things like, hey, Tori, play us a song. Can you play us something?
And she just does
And
that.
she does it. It's my dream world. That's pretty fantastic. Tori Amos in Studio C on Channel 1031. That's Concertina. Grab a drink of water here. That's all. Now, Concertina it's a little squeeze box, but
Yeah.
what's the story of that song?
I've always loved squeeze boxes, whether they be, vintage instruments. I don't know how to play one myself,
Right.
but and I also love beautiful women, so it works out.
Well, I've heard you refer to your songs as she. They kind of take on a life of their own, and I've read interviews where you refer to a different song as a person, as a character. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. They're not all heterosexual, though,
Right.
so that's important.
How about the dynamic at your shows? It's hard to compare you to any other artist because when I see you perform, I'll see that women and men as well will. It's not just their music, your music that they're a fan of, but they're a fan of you, and you mean so much. They put the fanatic in the fan. Is that a heavy burden for you to bear?
Well, the thing is, Andy, I mean, when some people listen to this, they have this concept of people sitting there going, with knives in the front row. And it isn't like that, because I'd like to think that a lot of people just come out, when we were playing Red Rocks and there were 10,000 people that showed up, some people just came to have a good night out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I think the live shows, we've always, as a crew and as musicians, it's about excellence. And if the crowd doesn't want to show up, we're still going to give a good show. But it doesn't mean that any of us any of us got off.
Right.
I mean, we can play on stage, and even if I'm alone, I can play to the crew, for Christ's sake.
Right.
But that doesn't make a show work. A show works because you're having a relationship with an audience. And you don't have that every night. And partly it could be me and partly it could be them. But I've always said to somebody, if you didn't like the show, it's partly you.
Right.
And partly me. And if you like the show, it's partly you.
What about the fans and the ones particularly who come up to you, and I've heard story after story of women that will come up and say, you helped me through the worst part of my life?
Well, there are a lot of women that have sent letters, and it always blows my mind. Another story. People that you just see in a coffee shop that you go, oh, this girl looks like she's doing okay. Got her calculus book out, kind of cute. Her life can't be too bad. And you have no idea that, she's had to push her stepfather away half her life, dragging her in a closet and doing all sorts of stuff to her. And the mother doesn't want to know about it. And you just hear these things, and that's one side of it. Do you know? Mm-hmm. Then there are people that just say, hey, I just want to come hear music and forget about my horrible job for 10 minutes.
Right. Will you play us another song?
Okay. This is on the live album. It never made any of the albums, this one. And she kind of made her way on in the last minute on the live album.
Okay.
Well, hey, do you do judo and they surround you? A little mental yoga, will they disappear? It's grim but never dubious as a motive kill. One thing she always promised, is a shell. Thunder wishes it could be the snow. doesn't leave a scratch, so therefore no one's hurt. Thunder wishes he could be this now. Wishes he could be as loved as she can be. These gifts are here for her, for you, for me. Toiling down, the nurses will make it clear. Just when you escape, you have yourself to fear. Restaurant that never has to close. Breakfast every hour, it could save the world. So hey, do you do judo? You'll find every an angel's face is tricky to win constantly. Thunder wishes it could be this now. Wishes it could be as loved as she can be. These gifts are here for her, for you, for me. Ya-da-da, ya-da-da, I have for her, for her.
That's great. What was the name of that? That's Purple People?
Purple People, yeah.
And that's one that just narrowly made it on the live album.
Yeah.
This is kind of surreal for me because I'm staring at Tori Amos playing songs pretty much just for me in this room, and behind you is a whole bunch of stuffed animals. It's just
Until, hundreds. I mean, we have Barbie, the corduroy, cool.
Right.
I've always liked corduroy, so that's good.
and Tinky Winky back there, the Teletubby. All these. The reason these are out here, there are two things we're doing at Channel 103.1 right now. We're doing a toy drive for Toys for Tots. So you have until like 5 o'clock today to bring a toy down, unwrapped and unopened, to make Christmas a little bit brighter, the holidays brighter for somebody. The other thing that we're doing that I wanted to ask you about is we're doing listener favorites coming up here next week. We're going to start, actually on Monday, we're going to start counting down the top 103 albums of all time. And I was going to ask you, we're asking people to send in a list of 10, but do you have a few that mean a lot to you or have meant a lot to you?
Of course, but do you know what? That is so private. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair.
That is such a, because your records, you make love to your records. You do all sorts of stuff, cry in your friend's arms, and it's almost like more intimate than giving your gynecological records on the net these days,
Wow.
Certain things like that are, I think, pretty close to your heart.
All right. Well, I just want you to know, by not telling me, you're not eligible to win all 103 like our listeners.
That's okay.
All right. I wanted to ask you one more question about Women in Crisis. You put together the RAIN network a few years back, and I just got a call the other day from a woman who said, look, I'm outdoors. I've got a job. I don't want a Christmas turkey, but I've got 4 kids who I'm taking, from house to house, and I'm sleeping in my car because, my marriage is ending and my credit is ruined and so forth. And I didn't have the time at that time to delve into her personal life and find out more, so I knew where to send her for help. So I did what I could with that bit of information. But what can people do? Is that still set up, the RAIN network?
Of course, it's there, and there are people, counselors that are there to talk to people all the time about. RAIN stands for the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, and sometimes it's not as if I've had women come up to me and say, I don't feel like I'm eligible to call, but I'm ready to just jump off a bridge because I don't know how to deal with the thing that happened to me. Mm-hmm. And I do find a lot of women start to rank their experience. Well, I didn't put my head in an oven and, get raped for 7 years. It's like, that's not what this is about. Right. This is about their people there to talk to. Rapists actually call in. would say, I'm afraid I'm going to strike again? Absolutely. They deal with all sorts of people that are calling. And if you're going to have a phone line, you have to be available to deal with that person on the other line.
Right. Pain is a subjective thing, not an objective thing. What's the number?
1-800-656-HOPE.
Okay. Will you do one more song?
Yeah.
The album, To Venus and Back, that you've been hearing Concertina and other tracks from on Channel 103.1, it's in stores now. Makes a lovely Christmas gift. Are you going to play something off that? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's this?
This is, I didn't understand when I got married that I had this concept of what lust was. And I had this concept of what marriage was, like fuzzy slippers and a bathrobe and cooking, bad eggs. And then I started to understand what lust was. And this is lust.
Lust from Tori Amos on Channel 103.1 in Studio C. This is a pretty good way to end a really busy week in Studio C. I'm really glad you came in.
Hooray.
One last thing, Millennium, 2 weeks from now. Do you have any plans? Does it mean anything to you?
To have no plans. It's just nice to have no plans, cuddle up.
It's my way of thinking. I'm going to be looking out my window watching Hollywood burn, I think. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming in. The album's To Venus and Back,
Thanks,
and
Andy.
it's fabulous, and that was a really nice set in Studio C. Tori Amos on Channel 103.1.
Thank you.